Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of May the 24th, 2015. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. This week we have got Mercury, the Sun, and Mars traveling relatively close together, and they will each be speaking with Neptune. So these planets traveling quite close, doing a dance. Mercury and the Sun often travel quite closely, so it's not that uncommon for them to meet with exact precision in the sky. Mercury will be meeting Mars with exact precision in the sky as well. However, all of these planets are going to be speaking in a conversation astrologers call a square. So a type of conversation that signifies some tension with the planet Neptune. Now, this to me suggests that it's not going to be easy to be honest with ourselves, is really what it comes down to. And it might be that with the best of intention, either we are giving information we don't realize is incorrect, or other people are giving us information that they don't realize is incorrect. And it could also be technology that's giving us information that may not be very accurate as well, especially when it comes to things like GPS systems and stuff. However, the way that you kind of counteract this, right, because there's all this sort of not clear energy in the air, is that you take a few extra steps to make sure that people are, to the best of your ability, understanding you as you are hoping they will, and that you are understanding others by asking questions. Asking questions is a way to release some of the confusion that may be there. Now, with this energy also, it has to do with acknowledging disappointments. And that is where actually I think we're utilizing the higher end of this vibration. So the not so high end is just feeling really confused, getting wrong information, whether people mean to or not. This can also be losing things, I gotta say, okay? So it might be losing things, misplacing things as well. Especially you wanna watch when you are in stores. So if you're in stores, this could be a time when you leave something behind in a store. So be mindful of your things as well. But having said that, that's one of the more immediate kind of literal ways that this energy can manifest. And with a little bit of awareness and a little bit of time and a little bit of questions, it need not manifest in those ways. This energy, ultimately, the higher expression of this energy has to do with acknowledging where we have felt let down, acknowledging where we've been disappointed, where maybe we've expelled a lot of energy, given a lot of energy, let a lot of energy go, and not feeling the sense of satisfaction that we thought we would. I also want to say, as I see this, because of Mercury's connection to shopping, right? It has to do with commerce in general. Sun has to do with identity and who you know yourself to be, what you know to be true. And Mars has to do with living authentically and exerting ourselves authentically in the world. I think that there are going to be some people out there that might be inspired or inclined towards a purchase that is large, okay? That might be large given your unique context. Might be a large purchase that ends up not doing what you hoped it would do. And what I mean by that is a lot of times, and this is something that goes to like the psychology of consumerism, psychology of business, we make purchases for all kinds of reasons, and very often we make purchases for reasons that are more emotional than maybe we necessarily like to admit. And I think, as I look at the sky, that if you are one of those people, if you're making purchase based on you thinking this is going to give you something on an emotional level, on a psychological level, and then in retrospect you realize, oh wow, okay, that didn't do it for me the way I hoped it would do it for me. Well, that's okay, it's lesson learned, right? Not a big deal. And it may be that you end up enjoying that thing in the fullness of time, but just be a little bit mindful of that. And also, I do want to advise everyone out there, be mindful as well, because again, this is about energy sort of leaving, not being very mindful. We've got Mars, we've got Mercury there as well. Just drive carefully, okay? And if there ever was a time to just not drink and drive at all, this would be it. So be mindful before you are headed out. Make sure you're not too tired. Make sure you haven't had anything to drink. These little steps are ways that you ensure that you utilize this energy for what it is actually intended, which is ultimately being honest with ourselves about where it is that we've been going in a direction based on hope, based on fantasy, based on illusion, instead of based on what tangibly feels solid and secure and right to you. So wherever it is that you've allowed yourself to go in those directions, this is going to be sort of that moment of honesty, and very welcome moment of honesty at that. But again, be clear as much as possible, be clear with everyone around you. What we also have happening this week, which sort of furthers this, like buyer's remorse kind of energy, is that last week we had Venus standing across from Pluto. Well, Pluto and Uranus are now separating their long-standing conversation that they've been going through since 2012. And Venus comes along and is doing one of these final activations. So especially right about now, whenever a planet speaks with one, it ends up speaking to the other. Because as they are separating, they're still kind of close in terms of what astrologers call degree or orb. So they're still kind of close in their conversation. However, they are separating, okay? So no worries about that. We don't got to go back exactly to all the lessons that got kicked up for some of us under the Pluto-Uranus square. So Venus will be speaking with Uranus in tension, but speaking in supreme harmony with Chiron. Now, Chiron, I like to use Chiron sometimes, okay? I am of the belief that if something is meant to manifest, or if something is manifesting, you should be able to see it in sort of what we call Ptolemaic aspects. You should be able to see it in the planets. But Chiron, I have found, is really useful. Chiron is an asteroid and is a symbol of healing. It's a symbol of deep healing. It's a symbol of that wound that you think will never heal, that part of you that maybe feels insecure. You feel driven, but you don't really know why, but you know that it's based on some kind of insecurity that lies deep within you. Now, this is really great. This ultimately is about transforming that energy and being a healer in your own life and in other people as well. And if you think you need to, be an astrologer or, be doing acupuncture to be a healer, you can be a healer right where you are, regardless of what you're doing. And especially if you're a person who's striving to be honest with yourself, striving for self-knowledge, I think Chiron ends up being a really useful symbol in that pursuit. So we have got Venus speaking with Uranus and Chiron, like in these particular types of energy. I looked at this and I was reminded of one of my favorite quotes by Gloria Steinem. And she said, and I like to share this from time to time, she says, the truth will set you free, but first it will annoy you, right? I'm cleaning that up a little bit. But she said, first it might annoy you a little bit. It might upset you a little bit. It might tease you off a little bit. But sometimes that is a part of a journey towards freedom. Sometimes you need to have that so that ultimately you can be free. And this is freedom in love. This is freedom with finances as well. And so again, as I said, with that buyer's remorse, it might end up being that you realize, oh my God, I didn't even really want this. And why did I get this? This doesn't really matter to me. And that's okay, right? Because ultimately it looks like we are connecting to that part of us that ends up being free, thankfully, but also a very healing voice within us. I don't think that it is, look, we all do our best in any given moment. I absolutely believe that. I think that if you are enjoying the process and you have an abundance and you're spending your money and it helps so many people in so many ways because it is contributing to the economy and it's helping the people who work at that store be employed. If you happen to enjoy it, if it happens to be judged as frivolous by somebody else, it doesn't really matter. It's about you and how you feel. And so it might not even be that you need to take it as a buyer's remorse. It might be that you are judging yourself through the eyes of another when you need not do that. Be in the moment, do what it is that you want to do, and from that place there can only be peace. When you accept that you've always done what it is that felt right for you in the moment, only peace can result from that place. But also this energy is really good just for love, like healing in love, like being honest with yourself about why you are with whom you are. Last week it was really powerful fated attractions. This week the lights come on and you go, wow, okay, that's who you are. Oh, I get it. That's why I thought that I was into you. That's why I was attracted to you. That's why I felt that pull towards you. And it's also an honest evaluation of ourselves and our own actions as well in the context of love, so that we can, on the one hand, really important to anybody open to new love is forgiveness. Sometimes you need to forgive yourself, and that's really okay. For some others, sometimes this has to do with forgiving another person as well. But again, ultimately, we do what it is. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we make our choices based on what we want to do for a variety of reasons. And as long as you are comfortable with that, you've made your choice. Be at peace with that. And that includes romantic past. That includes the decisions you made in your past where it comes to love as well. But this week isn't going to let us get away with not being honest with ourselves in the context of love, not being honest with ourselves about who we're with and why. But also where it is that maybe if we are the ones who are not living up to an expectation that maybe we have of ourselves in love, or a vision that we have of ourselves in love, and our partner calls us on it, which is what a good relationship will do. It will call you on your stuff sometimes when it's appropriate and grounded in love. This may be that time when your partner calls you on something ultimately so that it can be resolved and move towards a greater closeness and a greater love and a greater partnership with that person. But also, of course, as I said, this can be a personal journey as well. You need to have that awareness of what has been and why, so that you can connect to that part within you that knows that everything has been wise and now you're ready to make a different choice. And that different choice will lead you towards greater love, whether that love is for yourself or for another, and lead you towards, and that ultimately is what wisdom is all about. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching this introduction. I'm truly so grateful for it. Please do keep your questions and interactions coming. I absolutely love them. Facebook, Twitter, Google+, my website, nadiyashah.com, and the YouTube comments as well. If you have a question, an astrology question, you want me to do an FAQ on, please do consider using the hashtag AskNadiya, hashtag AskNadiya, hashtag UWL, which stands for Universe is Wise and Loving, or you could just use hashtag The Universe is Wise and Loving. Those are hashtags that I'm searching these days, and that will ensure that I see your question. Sometimes it takes me a little time to answer your questions. If it requires a little thought, a little articulation on my part. Sometimes I'm just quickly running through my messages on my phone, quickly running through your comments, giving you likes and heads up, and favoriting your tweets and things. Sometimes your questions are brilliant. They require a well thought out answer. And so I may take a few days to get back to you, but I always try to acknowledge, and I always do try my best to get back to everybody out there. If you have questions that are a little bit more personal, you'd like me to have a look at your unique situation, please do consider a personalized horoscope where I can do just that. And you can check my website for that, for more information on personalized horoscopes. I'm truly so grateful that you are here, that you're watching this video. I hope in some way it infuses your life with inspiration, with hope, and with a reminder that the universe is wise and loving, which really is the whole point of everything I share, is to affirm that truth in the universe that I absolutely believe to be true. So how all this wonderful astrological stuff speaks to you and your sign is coming up right now. Hello, fabulous Aries. This week, for you in particular, if there ever was a week that would have a conversation either not go the way that you planned, or a conversation lead to greater confusion than clarity, this would be it. Mercury, Mars, Sun, in a part of the sky for you that has to do with communication, speaking with Neptune, suggests to me just the information coming at you may just be wrong. Also, what you want to do just on a very practical level, if you're doing any shopping this week, make sure you check the receipts. Some things might not scan properly for you right about now, again, because of this interesting energy we have happening this week for you in particular. So this is a time to, on the one hand, you want to appreciate what you already have, okay? Which is always good advice, always. But also, this is a time to, when you are speaking, if any sign needs to be paying attention to what people are understanding based on what you're saying, it would be you. There's just too much confusion energy taking place. If you are in any kind of negotiation, you're signing any kind of contract or reaching any kind of agreement, you have to be especially mindful now that you may not be appreciating the big picture. You may not be seeing the small print. In fact, if you were my client, if you were sitting in front of me, which is, you know, of course, in one way you are, right? You're my friend and fan. I would say to you, don't sign any contracts this week if you can help it, unless it's absolutely urgent. To the best of your ability, where you can, avoid signing contracts this week, because there's just too much room for things not to be clear under this type of sky, and you don't want what is put into place now to end up being something that is hugely consequential. So no agreements, no new contracts being made. And also I would say that especially if you are spending time with a sibling or spending time with a neighbor, watch what you say, because I feel as I look at this that you may end up saying something that later on you think to yourself, I can't believe I said that. I said way too much. That I wasn't ready to share that. That was not appropriate for me to tell. Like, these are the types of things I'm seeing you say. So especially if you're speaking to one of these people, a sibling, a cousin, or a neighbor, play it a little bit close to the heart this week if you can. But what I do like about this week, and even with that, so we've got that advice out of the way, where it comes to love this week, even though we do have you sort of like having this awakening, like, oh my God, this is where I am in love. This is my reality in love. There's a part of you that knows not only is everything going to be okay, but there's a part of you that feels very comforted by developments that take place right about now in the context of love, whether you're considering the past differently, whether you're setting up home with someone, or whether it is with an established partner and you're thinking about how this person actually makes you feel more grounded and gives you a sense of place and gives you a sense of home. All of that is being highlighted right now. Even with that awakening and that appreciation, there's also an understanding that you are right where you need to be in love, and you're moving in a very, very good direction, a direction that feels positively healing. Hello, fabulous Taurus. This week we've got some very confusing energy playing out, as I spoke of in the introduction. For you, this is about money. It's a huge part of this for you. It's about finances and possessions as well. And so, all else being equal, right? And I'm always going to be honest with you, always. And so I'm going to say this is a time to be mindful of your things and where you're putting them. Be mindful of your money and how you're spending, because I just think that this can be a time when a lot goes to waste, and you sort of in retrospect go, oh wow, like that either ended up costing way more than I thought, or ended up sort of pouring money in a direction that ended up not being effective. These are the types of things I'm seeing come up for you as a possibility. So just be mindful of that, especially when it comes to a friend. This is not the time to do any kind of financial dealing with a friend. Don't hire a friend, don't lend money to a friend if you can help it. So this can be, it could end up being a friend that ends up needing some of your resources, and you end up feeling like you're pouring all this money in that direction. And again, all of us in our own way are doing our best. And I'm always going to be honest with you. It might be that a friend is either they don't realize that they're not giving you correct information, or they might consciously not be giving you correct information as part of trying to get some support, especially additional resources on their front. So just be mindful of that. You know what you can give. You know what feels right. You know what feels natural and abundant, and what maybe doesn't. And so if you live from that place, you should be fine. If you live from that place of being connected to your own intuition, then you should be fine as you navigate this. But yeah, not a great time to get into business, especially to initiate any kind of business arrangement with a friend right about now. That will change. It's just this week, it's that kind of energy right about now. There are times when it is a good idea And there are times when it really isn't. And this would be a time when it really isn't. What we also have playing out this week, though, is I think conversations in love, where on the one hand, some stuff might come up that downright surprises you. Okay, so secrets might be coming out right about now by talking about love. So whether you're talking to somebody you love, or you're getting to know new people and you're talking online. I mean, I just see if you're trying to connect with somebody new, and especially online, this could be like too much information, like just coming out really, really fast. Like, whoa, I barely know you and I'm your therapist. Like that kind of thing that takes you aback a little bit. But for all that, ends up actually being something that is something that ends up helping you, ends up being a very healing thing for you. Where it comes to a partner as well, some secrets might come out that take you aback a little bit, but ultimately lead to a renewed understanding of the connection that you have with this person, the friendship you have with this person as well. So if they've been like sort of pushing things back and not being upfront with you about something that's been bugging them, this might be a time when it actually does come out, surprises you, but lends itself to a deeper understanding. Hello, fabulous Gemini. This week we've got this, what astrologers call a stellium of planets. So we've got Mercury, Mars, Sun in your sign, speaking with Neptune. If there ever was a time when you might feel like some disappointments are coming to the surface, maybe there's a lot of confusion energy taking place, this would be it. I think that for some Geminis out there, and let me just say, it's just an energy, it's just going to pass, okay? So it's not going to last that long. Really, it's just going to pass, and it needn't manifest that way. So let's explore that a little bit. Given that last week we had all this much more intense energy playing out, we had energy that was all about truth and facing things head on and having to, really look at things in a way that made you be accountable, really. Maybe you had your internal parent getting kicked up. Maybe somebody else was behaving as if they were your parent in a way that wasn't very comfortable. So these are the types of themes that have been playing out over the last few weeks. Now we get to this week, and we've got an energy setting in that has to do with acknowledging disappointment, acknowledging what hasn't worked. If you feel like, I don't know which way to go now, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now, I don't know what my purpose is, what my direction is, it will pass. It just is a temporary thing. Just as quickly as it comes, it can pass as well. And really, just as this week where it might feel like things are a little bit hard to pin down. Now, what's interesting to me about this week is, especially where it comes to purpose, career, direction, it's almost as if I'm seeing you want to do something that feels like magical, or want to do something that feels really meaningful, that feels like you're living your purpose, but you feel like your present reality or who you are today is a disconnect from that idealized vision. Well, this is what I would say about that. I would say that where you are right now is part of the purpose, is part of your purpose. You can't be somewhere and not have it be exactly where you are supposed to be. So you are exactly where it is that you are supposed to be right now. And so if you can strive to see your current situation as part of a larger plan for your life, that can only help you. If you strive to see how you can do something to whatever it is that you desire to do, if you want to help others, if you want to make the world better, if you want to, be someone who inspires people, there are ways that you can do that right now, exactly where you are. And so this is going to be that opportunity, that chance to see just that. But if you feel like what you are doing right now isn't allowing you to do that, then a couple of solutions are there. Strive to understand how you can actually do all those things you desire to do right now. But also, it's okay to allow yourself to acknowledge where things haven't worked out when you really, really wanted them to work out. It's okay to allow yourself to accept that, I wasn't really being honest with myself at that time or that moment of my life. I really thought that's what I wanted, spent so much energy trying to get it, and now I realize that's not really what I wanted to do. It's okay to do that, and that's actually progress. It's actually really, really good when you're able to stand in that space and say, okay, yeah, I get it. I'm going in another direction. I'm meant to do something else at that. What I also want to say about this week is that we do have this amazing energy playing out between Venus and Chiron. So Chiron in the same sort of part of your sky as Neptune. I think that this is really good for you financially. This is really good for you in terms of actually getting advancement that ends up leaving you feeling really appreciated, really loved even, really open, ends up helping you to see how things actually are working to your advantage. And so if there's anywhere, any moment when you start to have doubts and you start to be unsure, strive not to give in to them, because again, you might not be seeing things clearly this right about now. Instead, understand how things are working to your advantage, and I absolutely think there will be evidence to suggest that. Where it comes to love, I do think that it is sort of the workplace that could provide you with a romantic moment, or rather workplace isn't the right word. I would say as you're pursuing a career goal, as you are doing what you need to do to make your money, those avenues are places where lots of very soft and healing energy can come in, sweet energy can come in at that, whether it's within an established bond where the two of you are talking about your goals and things that you want to move towards together, what values you're going to hold as part of moving towards your larger goals, or whether it is that you're open to somebody new. This can be a time that certainly moves you in a direction that helps you know that there certainly is love in the world for you. Hello, fabulous Cancer. This week we do have, as I've been talking about, there is this energy taking place that ultimately is kind of confusing. Now, what I do like about this week for you is that it's kind of in the ether, okay? So it doesn't look like it's necessarily manifesting so much in your actual experience. So it's like your dreams might be really crazy, or your dreams might be like, you wake up crying from your dream because you realize something about how something didn't work out, or something hurt you or disappointed you. And ultimately, this is about release. That's what's really taking place here. You are really on a psychic level, on a level of psyche, letting go of some stuff that you no longer need to carry in there. Stuff is coming to the surface, and it very well may lead to tears. You also want to watch your dreams. I just have a feeling as I look at the sky, lots of water metaphors might be playing out, and where it comes to dreams, water is a symbol of emotion. So you do want to be mindful of that. See if that ends up playing out in the dream space for you, what that could symbolize for you in your journey towards self-knowledge. But Venus is in your sign this week, and that to me is the really big news. So Venus in your sign is good for love all around. It's good for attracting somebody new. It's good for feeling a sense of being worthy, of enjoying your life, enjoying good things as well. Now we do have Venus speaking with Uranus this week, which is, lights coming on. Oh my God, I can't believe I wanted that. I can't believe I was attracted to that. I can't believe that meant so much to me when it did. These are the types of things I'm seeing you say to yourself, especially in the context of relationship. And I mean, we've all had that. We've been, what was I thinking with that? That's the type of thing I'm seeing. And so last week we had this energy that was all about really powerful attractions, fated attractions. Well, this is like the morning after, when you wake up with a hangover and you're like, whoa, who's this? Or what was I thinking? Or what was happening? I was so in love yesterday, but who is this now? Like, I really think that this could play out for a few of you out there. So you just want to be mindful. It needn't work out this way. If you are walking sort of step by step and striving to stay mindful, mindfulness is amazing. I mean, they say, there is no magic pill. There is a magical process or a magic process. I think that awareness is huge as part of any magical process. Any magic process that includes awareness. Awareness is alchemy. Awareness transforms just about anything. And that's the opportunity that you're going to have this week and right about now. So when those lights come on, embrace the light, but also know that we've got this amazing supportive energy playing out between Venus in your sign and Chiron, which suggests to me warmth, which suggests to me healing, which suggests to me putting the past behind you, putting old wounds behind you, and realizing how you are now ready and better to love with a braver heart than you were before. Hello, fabulous Leo. This week we have got a buildup of planets in the part of the sky for you that has to do with friendship. And these planets are speaking with Neptune. Now, this to me, and Neptune right now in a financial part of the sky, not a time to invest in anything related to a friend, okay? Don't invest in a stock idea that your friend brings to you. If your friend asks you for money, particularly towards an investment, not the best week to do so. There will be much better climates coming up further down the road, but this week, not it. So if you get any kind of financial advice, tax advice from a friend, it may not be accurate, okay? So, and that doesn't mean that they're deliberately doing this, okay? So you might just get advice that misses the mark or isn't completely accurate, where it comes to your finances, where it comes to taxes, where it comes to investments. These are the types of things that you just want to watch. It's better to let friends just be about friendship now and keep money completely out of the equation. And definitely not a time to lend a friend money. That money will just go so quickly, is what I'm seeing. It might be that your friend isn't seeing things in a very balanced way, isn't seeing things very realistically, is trying to go for something or make something happen that maybe isn't for the highest good of all concerned. And so in their most sincere effort, may be honest with you based on them not being able to be honest with themselves. So be mindful of that. If you have it to give and you don't care if you get it back, well, then that becomes a whole other thing. What I also think about this week where it comes to friendships, given the sky, okay, it's not the best time to tell a secret to a friend, because it's one thing if somebody you've trusted, you told them something in the past, it's okay, just leave it there. Don't reiterate any secrets now. Don't tell any new secrets now. You only have control over this moment right now. And even that, sometimes we don't. This isn't the time to, reveal things that are very private to a friend, especially if it's somebody that you don't know very closely. It just might not stay a secret, is all I'm saying. So be mindful of that. And it might not even be intentional. You might tell them something in confidence. They don't realize it's in confidence. Or they think it's, in confidence between you and 5 other people, between the 2 of you and 5 other people, when really it's all about, or it's only about the 2 of you. So just be mindful of that. Pace yourself and know that if there is something that you feel like you need to share, that you need to get off your chest, there are certain spaces where you might be able to do that. But if it's something you've been holding on to for a while, it's almost like I feel like you're feeling like confession. Confession is good for the soul. Well, it can be, but it's even better when it's at the right time and it's timed properly. And I think that this could be a time when you reveal something to somebody and either it doesn't stay a secret or it doesn't go the way that you plan or the way that you hope, and actually revealing something to somebody ends up creating more pain than you hoped that it would heal. So again, be mindful of that as well. Also be mindful of things this week that have to do with like memberships, like if there are membership fees or if you belong to any kind of association or group that jointly buys like retirement savings types of things. Be mindful of stuff like that as well, because again, if you get the advice that you should, maybe change your portfolio a little bit, or you should change your retirement savings and like start diversifying, you can do that, but don't do it now, and don't do it based on information that you get now as well. But this week is also really good for a lot of other things as well. And it's really good where it comes to this conversation that we have playing out between Venus and Chiron. I am so excited about that. So looking forward to that as well. Yes, we do have a bit of a moment of awareness, a moment of surprise that might be there in the context of love or money early in the week, but that quickly gives way to some really heartwarming experiences playing out. And to me, as I look at this, this is good karma finding you. So even with this energy, and you might feel a little bit bad saying, no, I'm not going to give right now, I'm not going to share. This actually is an energy that's really generous, not just with your giving, but also with receiving in particular. This is good karma, you getting a reward of good karma. And this is not based on anything you're doing now, but what you've already done, stuff you've already put into place in the past. And so this could be you having completely forgot about an application that you put in a really long time ago, or somebody you did lend money to a long time ago, and they show up now and they they return that money to you, or you receive that funding comes through for you right about now. But also this can be just like a private moment in love for you. So whether it's with somebody new or it's within an established bond, this is quiet, this is private, this is you sharing within your spirit something with this person, you receiving information from them that ends up being really bringing you that much closer to them as well. So be mindful here, okay? Because it's a little tricky, I know. If you are thinking about this person romantically, but they think about you as a friend, you don't want to go there. But if you know that this is somebody where it's just totally romantic, if you know that somebody you're in a bond with, you share your life with them, that's when systems are go. That's when you're working with the universe to create even more love between the two of you. Hello, fabulous Virgo. This week we have got such interesting energy playing out at really key points in your chart right about now. And it suggests to me that you may not be completely clear on your direction right about now. It might be there's something you want to achieve and you don't know who's really on your side to help you do it. There might be something you think you want to achieve, but you're feeling like, now what is that exactly? You're trying to find a way to contain it or trying to find a way to express it properly. So all of these are going to be considerations that are playing out for you right about this week. Now, what is good with this energy is that it can be a time where you're thinking big picture, which is great. However, I do think that this can also be a time when you are thinking about, the limits of what you can do and what you can't, what you want to do and what no longer is the path that you're meant to go down or no longer what it is that you are meant to do. This can also be you trying to figure out the strongest way forward in terms of your career and not feeling very clear. Also, I gotta say, this can be getting really bad advice from somebody you trust. Not necessarily intentionally, okay? But where it comes to, if you are in any kind of partnership where it comes to your career, that's especially where you want to be mindful, where you may get some advice that isn't so spot on, that isn't so right on as well. And so be mindful, right? Ultimately, people are doing their best with what they have. Not the best time to initiate changes in the context of career, initiate changes in partnership or start a new partnership. Not a good time to do that at all. But also, if you know that there's a conversation you need to have with a partner, I would say put it off. Just put it off a little bit. Not this week. This week might not be the time. Once we get you past this week, the energy literally clears up. It's much, much clearer. And from there, you're able to ensure that you are truly being understood and they can feel the same from you as well. Now, what we also have playing out this week romantically, this energy can play out romantically. It might be that, your partner wants something, is going in a certain direction that's really different from what you want and where it is that you're going and what it is that you believe that you're doing or meant to be doing as well. So I think that it might say, you might feel like, well, we got to talk about this. We got to work this out. Still, if you can, just strive to understand their perspective and put off that conversation just a few days, right? Try not to have the conversation this week, only because I think that it'll end up leading to more confusion. And it might seem like, in all honesty, you might come off like you don't know what you want. And that's not the case. It's just that the way you're articulating it is not being understood the way that you would like it to be. And so where you can, pace yourself, where you can, put that type of conversation off, knowing that the love between the two of you will keep you together and keep you going that much stronger. For those of you open to meeting somebody new, I would just be mindful of meeting anybody new right about now, because you might really be seeing something very different than the reality, than the actuality. And so again, meet new people, of course, that's always awesome. But again, just know that within yourself, that sometimes we see what we want to see, and that's okay. That's part of what love asks, knowing that more will be revealed as we move further and further down the road. Now, where things are really good for you, especially romantically, is with a friend or in friendship. So if you want to start something with a friend, or you want to just understand love more deeply, spend time with your friends. And if you want to feel a sense of friendship with the person that you love, you've got lots of cosmic support to make that happen. Hello, fabulous Libra. This week we have got all this energy building in fellow air sign Gemini, which tells me that even though there's some challenging stuff playing out, I think that your sign and other air signs out there will navigate it better than most. And so you certainly have an advantage in that something about this energy is working within your own element, or you are very much in your element with this energy. Now, as I spoke about in the introduction, ultimately this energy is one of some confusion. Things not necessarily being very clear. Now for you, this has to do especially with matters that have to do with travel, especially international travel, have to do with travel documents, immigration issues, citizenship issues, has to do with higher education, with school as well, and any kind of examination situation, especially at the university level as well. So when I see this, and I gotta say it's also legal, there's some legal energy playing out here as well. I mean, this could be a time when just papers go missing, is what it comes down to. Things can get lost, papers can go missing, documents can go missing, things that you were counting on, relying on, applications seem to vanish. They may reappear again. And also, when dealing with these types of environments, these types of institutions, just know that the information you're getting might not necessarily be accurate or be very clear. This isn't the best time to write an exam, so if you have any kind of choice, I would say don't do it this week if you have any kind of choice in that matter. Sometimes we don't, of course. But this also can be a time when you just get some advice that has you chasing your tail, and that's something that you want to, of course, avoid, because that can be a big waste of time and make you feel like all this time went for what? Now, this especially might play out if you are either traveling or in school connected to work or a job, whether you're hoping to get a job or you have a job and these ventures are connected to it. That's especially when the energy can get particularly confusing. Where you walk into a certain environment and things aren't as clear cut as you would hope. Maybe the information you're getting is not as clear cut either. Maybe after having an interaction with somebody within the legal profession or somebody related to traveling for work, related to school and work, it ends up leaving you with more questions. So those answers will come, but just give it a little bit of time, and also not a time to just accept what answer is given you. It's just too easy right now to get an answer that makes you feel defeated and disappointed when that needn't be the case. Of course, you want to take action in support of yourself whenever possible. It's always a good thing. That effort is never wasted. But if you have a buffer, if you have a little bit of time, if at all possible, allow yourself that. If you don't have the buffer, of course, do what you can. Take the steps that are in front of you to take, knowing that a resolution can come about, but you might just want to be a little bit patient with everybody involved in that process. So like I said, it's not a good time to file legal documents. If you're traveling internationally, especially for work, just strive to be really patient through the whole process, beginning to end, and you should be just fine. Where energy is really great though this week has to do with Venus and Chiron. I'm very encouraged by this. Now, before they speak in harmony, Venus will speak with Uranus. Now, this is not such a strange thing to you by this point. Since the beginning of the decade, Uranus has been in your opposite sign, will be for pretty much throughout this decade. And given the position of Uranus and Venus, how quickly she moves, it's not that It's not that rare. You've already had a few types of these conversations since the decade began. And so this can be some interesting romantic awakenings, surprises, insights, revelations that leave you feeling like, oh wow, did I need to know that? Did I want to know that? I didn't realize that. If any sign is going to say that, it's going to be you. The air signs especially are very likely this week to say to themselves, wow, I didn't know that about you, whether that you is a friend or a partner or otherwise. I didn't know that about this person. And it can be a little bit of a surprise, but thankfully we've got all this wonderful healing energy between Venus and Chiron, which suggests to me that regardless of how things end up going, ultimately the result is good. It's leading you in a direction where you come to have a deeper appreciation, have a deeper realization that actually everything is okay, everything is as it should be, and that everything is, especially where it comes to pursuits of the heart, is working to your advantage. It's like there's a very deep understanding that sets in that lets you know that you are exactly where you need to be in your journey towards greater love and greater wisdom as well. Hello, fabulous Scorpio. This week we have got this buildup of energy happening in a part of the sky for you that is decidedly financial. So it has to do with financial institutions, grants, loans, bursaries, insurance payments, tax returns. It has to do with banks, financial aid offices and such, insurance places, right, where you go to apply for insurance benefits and things like that. The risk right now this week is that the information that you get might not be accurate, and that you might take something as the final word when it needn't be. So I would say to you that if you get any kind of answer that you don't agree with or that you don't like, appeal. You might want to give yourself, if you can, give yourself a few days before you put in that application. Make sure that you are, to the best of your ability, standing on solid ground. But if any kind of decision comes through that you don't like, you absolutely can find ways to make things work to your advantage in the larger term over the coming weeks. Just don't accept what's being handed to you, because I do think that there's going to be a lot of advantage to you if you allow yourself to navigate things with a little bit more awareness and allow yourself to say, okay, sometimes, yes, a final answer really is a final answer. This needn't be that type of time. So strive to be honest, strive to be clear, of course, knowing that other people, it may not even be intentional, but other people really are doing the best that they can do as well with the information that they have, especially where it comes to financial matters or matters of getting benefits. If there is any kind of, I know, like you get an answer, a no on a loan, it might be based on the fact that they got information that wasn't accurate. So you may need to update them. But for all that, all it takes is a little bit of timing. Don't let yourself get too riled up about it, because I know that money can be really emotional for people, and it does look like emotions with this are being really heightened. So you needn't be. You just need to remember what really matters. What matters is you have you. You have you. And as long as you have you, everything will be okay. And that whatever news or answer comes through now is not the final answer by far. And you will find a way to navigate this to your financial advantage in the bigger picture, certainly. What we also have happening this week is Venus moving through fellow water sign Cancer, speaking in supreme harmony with Chiron. I just love this. Also, Chiron and fellow water sign as well. This is great for you with love, with romance, with dreaming big, with having an appreciation that your life is part of a larger picture and that there is a larger sort of plan playing out. But to me, this also is you understanding how everything that's happening is actually moving your life towards greater love and greater wisdom. Venus is goddess of love. Chiron is a symbol for wisdom, absolutely. And so these two planets working together suggest to me that you can see the beauty of it all. You can see the wisdom of it all, and that there is certainly love energy with you. So if you are in an established bond, this can be just you feeling so loved and supported through all of this and realizing how much this person is actually with you. If you are open to meeting somebody new, it could be in the hustle and bustle of you trying to resolve all this stuff that you do end up making a genuine heart connection with someone new. Hello, fabulous Sagittarius. This week we have got some really wonderful energy playing out in one part of the sky, and then some energy that maybe might be hard to pin down, not as clear as we might like, playing out in the sky as well. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. For you, we have a lot of energy building in your opposite sign, which has to do with partnership, which has to do with love, which has to do with connection. And these placements are speaking with Neptune at the very bottom of your chart. And so it looks like there's going to be a lack of consensus or agreement between you and a partner, especially where it comes to matters related to home. This could be redecorating, you wanting to make changes, your partner not really wanting to, partner thinking, no, this is a waste of money. And it might be, I'll be very honest with you. Where it comes to necessary repairs, that becomes a different thing. If it's necessary, you may end up getting a quote that isn't as accurate as it could be. Let me put it that way. That is either the person isn't realizing either the complexity of the situation or the simplicity of the situation, or maybe the person really isn't being as honest. But these are things you want to be mindful of, especially if you're approaching matters of wanting to create repairs in the home environment. But it seems that in some way, as I said, your partner is involved, maybe not consciously. So when I see this, it might be you're introduced to someone through your partner. It's a friend of your partner. All intentions might be good and great, but there's still that lack of clarity. So if there are changes you need to make to the home, just wait this week out. And then the advice you get further down the road will be that much more better and that much more helpful at that. This can also be, as I said, you and your partner not agreeing on where to live or what needs to change, whether the house needs to change, you need to move, or you don't need to move, and how that's going to work. And so strive to be patient with each other. It might be that you are seeing a certain picture or something that you want much more expansively than the reality. Like it might be that you are thinking that you have a budget for a home that is way, way more extravagant than the reality, or that your partner thinks, your partner wants, or is realistic for your partner as well. So all of these are factors at play right about now. But for all that, I do think that there's a lot of value in being patient. It's always good time, and it's always good advice to be patient. And know that maybe it's you that's not communicating things clearly as well. There might be changes that you want, but for whatever reason, the desire that you have is not coming across clearly or as clearly as it could be. So be mindful of that as well. What I do really like about the sky is, as I said, we've got positive things playing out as well. Mainly that's between Venus and Chiron. And so this to me suggests that you will reach a consensus and you will feel loved in the process as well. If it just is about money, the money is going to be there, and it looks like you're able to access the money you need to make changes on the home front if that's what you want. But you need to also get clear about why you want to make the changes, what's really going on, what's really motivating those changes. And if you can find a way to be honest with yourself about that, you'll find the resources you need have a way of falling into place. I also really like this week for you, at least where it comes to love. If you're in an established bond, a real heart connection can be like the result of having to navigate this time where the two of you end up that much closer and that much a deeper understanding through a small period of not having clarity with each other, which is kind of the mystery, which is kind of how it ends up working sometimes. If you are open to meeting somebody new, this is a really good time for you to be, I'll be honest with you, hanging out at banks or something. Like go try to get a loan, even if you know that it's not the right time or whatever. Like just go to the teller this time, because the chance of you at least having an interaction that warms your heart is likely in those spaces. Hello, fabulous Capricorn. This week we have got a buildup of energy taking place in a part of the sky for you that has to do with work and it has to do with health. And I'll be honest with you, as I looked at this, the chance of you getting health advice that isn't right, there's a chance now of getting advice that isn't accurate, whether it's advice on how to improve your health or it's some tests that come back and are not accurate. And so whatever, if you are in a situation in your life where you are seeking to get some knowledge about what's happening with you on a level of body, on a level of medicine, then I would say take it with a grain of salt, take it with a certain ease, knowing that things can be different than you're initially anticipating. And if you can sort of put off any kind of diagnoses this week, it would work to your advantage. Another way that this energy, though, can play out is if you are in some way not being honest with yourself about something that you are doing or continuing to do that isn't good for your health, especially if it's related to allergies, they may just come to the surface right about now. So you want to be honest with yourself about that. I feel like ultimately the solution is going to be simple. It's about getting the right information and thinking about it more clearly, and that answer will come. But if there's something that you know you're doing that you shouldn't be doing, that's creating more and more problems for you right about now, then this is a time to gently ask your higher self for the best way forward. And that will help you towards your path towards greater healing as well. For other Capricorns out there, this energy may manifest in the workplace with, again, I just see communications coming through that are in some way not accurate, in some way missing the mark. So just be mindful if there are any emails that you come across, any memos that come out as well. I mean, if ever there was a time when memos get leaked in the workplace that are not meant to be shared with the wider department, this would be it. So be very mindful of your communications. Don't say anything in writing that you wouldn't say in person to the person that you are speaking about. It's always good advice, especially in our modern world, but especially in the workplace and especially this week. You want to be mindful of that. Keep your communications really, really kind. It's always good advice to do that. Where it comes to love this week, we do have Venus in your opposite sign, which is really great for love all around. Now, Venus is going to speak with Uranus, which does suggest to me a little bit of an awakening for some of you out there, like your partner doing something way out of the blue, or somebody that you've recently connected with doing something that totally takes you aback and makes you go, oh wow, okay, this is who you are. Now this could also be somebody making a declaration in love that completely misses the mark. It could be you or somebody else. So be mindful, again, be kind, be kind. It takes a lot to put yourself out there and to share with somebody when you have affection for them. So be kind. Know that we do have this really wonderful conversation between Venus and Chiron, which suggests to me a conversation could change everything for the better. And so if you talk one-on-one with the person that you're with now or with somebody else who may enter your sphere right about now, just having that conversation or just a conversation about love could end up opening your heart to love in a way that you haven't known before, really healing things of the past, whether the recent past or the distant past, and allowing you to be present today to receive greater love. Hello, fabulous Aquarius. This week we have got this buildup of energy happening in a part of the sky for you that has to do with romance and love and the feelings that love can provide. And this buildup is speaking with Neptune in a decidedly financial part of the sky. So you put that together and that is love costing you money, or it could be kids for some out there. If you have children, it could be children who end up costing you money as well. Now here's the thing. The energy is not very clear this week, as I've been saying to all the signs, as I said in the intro, not very clear energy playing out this week. And so this to me, and especially for you, is not just love costing you and kids costing you, but wasting money through love or through children. So you just want to be smart about it is all I'm saying. If somebody is brand spanking new in your life and they're hitting you up for a loan, you've known them 5 days and they need $10,000, that should make a little alarm bell go off in your head, okay? Even if it's nothing to you, even if you have it to give, that should raise something to you, because they may be saying they need it for one thing, but it's actually for something else, okay? Now, it might be that a partner is sincere, or not a partner rather, but somebody that you're dating. It might be a partner, it might not. But it might be that a love interest, or someone you're dating, or someone you're committed to, but connected to romance, is being sincere with you. They are being upfront to the best of their knowledge, but the reality is that either they don't need it, or that the money that they're asking for ultimately is misguided. And so in some way, they think that they need this, but they don't, or they're thinking that they need to spend money in a certain direction or buy something, but the reality is very different. It might just be that they need to be reminded of their own potential, and they might just need to be reminded to be smart about their money as well. Because it could be that you end up seeing somebody that you're dating just spend a whole lot of money on something that is clear to you is fruitless. And so you have to find gentle ways to be honest with them if the situation calls for it. So this applies to children as well. I have to say, it might be that your children, a kid, if you have children, a kid might come to you and say, I really need this, I really need this, I really want to do this. And they might change their mind 2 days later. So that's something that kids can do. So you just want to be mindful of that, because it looks like a kid might end up spending a lot of your money for something that ends up not being very meaningful. Like all of a sudden they decide they want to ride horses. They never cared about it before. You go out and you buy them a brand new horse. They ride on it once and they go, no, not for me. So just encourage your child to pace themselves is all I'm saying in this regard. But also it might be, especially if your child's a little bit older and your child is testing limits, which is very natural and which actually is really healthy for children to do, especially when they're in puberty. It might be that your child is asking you for money and not completely honest about why that is. And so it's up to you to decide what parenting is going to be for you in this given situation. So love might end up being costly, but it also might be that you think that you need to spend money to impress somebody. And of course, that's never the case. It's never the case. If you are being you, and as it's said again and again, you alone are enough. You alone are enough. And so your love is more than enough, is invaluable. So let that stand true, and let that be its own truth as well, in its own case as well. Now, we do have some really lovely energy happening for you in the work sphere, financially and for work. And so if you love your job, or if you're doing what you do with love, this can be a time when some financial reward comes through. If you're in a healing profession, whatever you identify as a healing profession, if you experience yourself as a healer of any kind, this can be energy that allows you to experience how doing just that can actually create greater prosperity for you. And if there are any issues around money that need healing for you as well, the universe is going to grant you an opportunity to do just that, to see the value of what you give and to see that much more generously. Hello, fabulous Pisces. This week we have got buildup of energy happening for you at the bottom of the chart, at the base of the chart. Really important position, speaking with Neptune in your sign. To me, I look at this and I think that this is not the time to move, not the time to be making any changes on the home front. It looks like you might not be seeing the home sphere very clearly. But also, to be very honest with you, this can also play out in terms of your parents as well, or your family of origin. There might be something in you that knows you're not getting the complete picture. Somebody there is not being honest with you about something. It might be very well-intentioned. It might be that they're trying to protect you from something, or they're trying to protect themselves. But it does look like in those realms, in those spheres, whether it's family of origin or it's actual home where you live, these are spaces that can end up being a place where a lot of energy gets expended. You do want to watch in the area of home Some of this energy might get expended through water. And so just make sure that all is well, you know, with the water systems in your house. But for all that, you do have this energy playing out that suggests to me you can use this to your advantage. And the way that you do that is by thinking about what home is for you and understanding that home ultimately is a place of spirit. When you have that place of spirit where you feel at home within yourself, then actually thinking that it's the environment, it becomes that much more in the background, goes that much more further away in relevance. And so I think that for some of you out there, there might be some Pisceans out there this week who look at their home environment. They say, this needs to change, this needs to change. Oh, I hate this so much. When the truth is something deeper is going on. A deeper process is playing out for you that ultimately is going to ask you to find a way to be at peace within yourself. And if you can do that, find a way to feel safe within yourself, within your own skin, that will only help you to feel more at home wherever you are. And you'll find that a lot of things that might be bugging you in the home environment, once you get to the root cause that is within you, actually add to the beauty of exactly where you are right now. In the context of love, now we do have the ruling planet of your opposite sign as part of this configuration. So it looks like you and your partner are talking about matters of home, talking about what's happening on the home front, trying to reach some agreement, which might not be easy this week. So be patient with each other in that regard. What I do really love about this week for you is that Venus is moving through a very romantic part of the sky for you, speaking with Chiron in your sign. And this tells me that there is protection, there's warmth, there's healing all around in the context of love. If you're in an established bond, this should be a really romantic moment that makes you feel so close to this person and unites you or reunites you in some way where maybe before you'd felt some distance. For those of you who are open to meeting somebody new, this could be a flirtation that ends up being deeply healing to you. If there have ever been any doubts of your worthiness to love, events this week should resolve them and put them in the background and open your heart in a new way, in a way that feels safe, in a way that feels secure, in a way that makes you feel more ready for greater love than you've known before. Well, thank you so much to all signs out there. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.